Hello, my name is Yan, and today I'll talk a little bit more about AmpyFin. So, AmpyFin is an open source ensemble learning trading system. So, I call it a trading system because it has multiple layers on top of each other. It has a trading and a ranking layer, a trading and a testing layer, and a pushing layer. And those layers work together with each other. So, it also uses ensemble learning. So, for those who are not familiar with ensemble learning is where you take weak learners and you train them together, and it propagates to make a final decision. So, instead of just one weak learner outputting a decision, it uses multiple weak learners. So, in this case, for AmpyFin, weak learners are individual strategies. So, strategies that are simple, like means reversion, momentum, to more complex ones that um, analyzes analyst ratings, and institutional portfolios. So what we do with those in terms of ranking is we have each strategy have its own portfolio, and based on the performance of that portfolio, it's given a ranking. And those rankings range from what's the overall portfolio value at a given instance, or how many trades it was able to complete, or how many successful trades to failed trades ratio, things of that nature. And based on its ranking, it's given a final weight decision. And from there, if it's a buy decision, then it's multiplied by that weight decision. If it's a sell, it's also multiplied by that. Or if it's a hold, it's again multiplied by that weight decision. And we aggregate it to get a final decision. And that's what AmpyFin finally outputs. So for us, we trained our version of AmpyFin on a 1 minute tick for 25 years, and that's currently what's on the demo, and it's completely free for people to utilize. And it's also what's running on our live trading side on our Oracle server. So I guess we should get a little bit further into the slides. So not the slides, the tabs. So you might be wondering, okay, it's a trading system that works. Why did you decide to make it open source? And that's a question we got not just from individuals, but also from venture capitals and trading firms as well who are interested. And for me, I think this stems back to my philosophy. I always wanted to create a trading system um, back in university, but if you look on GitHub in 2021, and if your trading system worked, no one published it on GitHub. I was searching up on YouTube looking for, strategies, and it was mostly trading gurus trying to sell their course, and you have to pay for the course. And that's where I kind of committed to AmpyFin being, it has to be open source, so people who want to learn, they could use this as like a framework to learn off of and build their own system that could be better than AmpyFin, but also make it completely free. So that's where the open source comes in. I want to make it, people want to learn, they can learn using this framework, and it's free. It's completely free. I'm not trying to sell anything. And I think for that to happen, transparency and trust has to be first. So for me, this is a very important one, transparency. So that's where our test data will come in. We are, so I do plan to, no, I did upload it. So we have backtest data and performance data as well as trading logs. So, some people, they could fudge their tear sheet, but to prove that we didn't do it, we have our log files uploaded as well. So we have different tests. These aren't comprehensive tests, by the way. These are um, different tests that we have. They use quantstat, and yeah, you could view like the performance as well online over here. We do plan to release the AmpyFin model backtesting results sometime around April, after our what was it log validation tests are completed for that. But yeah, um, the results for the hybrid and the prag model are online, and I'll go a little bit more into what those two different models are. And yeah, I think this is a good step towards how our models work. So we use about 7 different models, but AmpyFin generally uses about 90% of the time the hybrid and the prag model. So this is what we have. So I guess yeah, has the open source framework on GitHub and the proprietary system. So for this one, I will talk a little bit more about the proprietary system. So it has the web scraping intelligence. So we use an advanced web scraping tool. This is a little bit outdated. We use OpenAI's ChatGPT API. Um, we use that now. But this is to scrape data from Benzinga and MarketBeat, MarketWatch, and Reddit. So yeah, I'll admit it, we do use Reddit to aggregate data. And Reddit is usually used for Mac to identify macro trends as well as MarketWatch. This is for Benzinga is more for analysts, and MarketBeat is used for institutional portfolios. And we also have a web scraping tool that uses 13F reports. That web scraping tool is still being used. So the hybrid model is used for low volatility, and the prag model is used for high volatility. We did have trouble with training our prag model, but the prag model has it's completely successful now. So we did publish the test results for the prag model as well. So we use these metrics. I think yeah, we have descriptions of what those metrics are, but there's about I think 25 other performance metrics that we primarily use. So that's a little bit more about that. And the process that we have is we train using 4 servers and we test using 2 servers, and that pipeline is pretty much built in. Um, Basically, the training, it trains and then it pipelines to the test. And if the test results show that two-thirds of the metrics are favorable compared to the current version, then it'll flag it for manual review. So yeah, and if we if we if we decide that it is better than the current version, then we'll release it and people could start using it in the demo. So yeah, and the framework for the open source, so the trading and ranking side, it's like I would say it's 95% of the same thing. So the open source version is, the ranking and trading logic is pretty much 95% of the same thing. But like ours is like very fine-tuned to optimize performance. So that's a little bit more about how AmpyFin works. The open source AmpyFin instructions, how to use it, how to, fine-tune your own version of AmpyFin. It's pretty much you know, well documented. It's on the website. It's also on the README for the GitHub. So I'll click on the GitHub, and yeah, it's pretty well documented. But again, if there's any confusion on how to, get it started, feel free to, just pull up an issue or pull up a discussion, and yeah, I'll help you walk through it. So that's that. Yeah, it also shows the current portfolio, so what our live portfolio holds, current rankings of each strategy on the open source side. So again, we use TA-lib as well, so we're only showing TA-lib rankings. Um, Recent trades, and I think this is the part of the transparency. We want to show like, not all our trades. I think if you show all your trades, you can kind of fine tune your model to kind of like mimic those trades. So we show like the 20 most recent trades that our version of AmpyFin did, and live benchmark, which I mean, yeah, it's performing pretty well. This is pretty much, I think, yeah, right now the market has high volatility, so this is our prag model at work, and it's done pretty well. It's done uh, pretty well. So it's been live since January 3rd, 2025, and it's currently up more than 30%, while PQ and SPY are less than, that percent. And the general thing with SPY is most hedge funds don't outperform SPY at a consistent basis. So I think we're going the right direction with that. I'm not sure where I heard that quote, so might not be true, by the way, but I think I might have heard it from the internet. So yeah, I mean, I guess don't believe everything you hear on the internet, I guess. If with regards to that, that's what I heard. I heard hedge funds don't outperform SPY on a long-term basis. Might have been on Reddit, but yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's been 2 months, so there's not like, you can't say conclusively AmpyFin is better than investing in QQQ and SPY. But I mean, we kind of show in the backtest results and our log files, it does perform pretty well. And also for the last 2 months, it's been performing well. I mean, more than well, so it's a good direction. And the demo is, I think, where a lot of people might try to use this. So Again, please note that trading is always at your own risk. So AmpyFin is not a financial advisor and does not provide financial advice. This is mostly just like, oh, this is pretty cool. Let's try this. So I guess what we could do is we could just search up a ticker. Let's say Tesla, and it only supports NYSE Nasdaq listed stocks. That's where its data is run through. So yeah, we'll give it some time to analyze that. It should give a percentage. So uh, before then, it gave like, whole coefficients, but that was a little bit unappealing to our users. So that's why we decided to switch to percentage. So what percentage does it think it's a buy, sell, hold? So overall, it's thinking, it's a buy. So Tesla is a buy. Okay, that's cool. What about, let's think of AT&T. Let's see what it thinks about AT&T. Interesting. Interesting that it thinks Tesla's a buy. Okay, that's cool. What about AT&T? Personally, I'm not sure about AT&T. I would not buy AT&T stock in general, but oh wow, it thinks it's a serious buy. Okay, that is crazy. Wow, that's cool. But yeah, let's think of let's think of you could also let me think. You could also try using. I think you can also try running Bitcoin USD. See like what it thinks about Bitcoin. And yeah, this one is, wow, exactly 50%. That's cool. So yeah, um, you could, try AmpyFin. You could use it as much as you want. Uh, yeah, so that's always up there. And there's, the cool light version. If you want to see the light version, you could do it. But I prefer the dark version. And yeah, you just click on this to see more about, the source code, the framework if you're interested in using it and testing and training your own version. There's yeah, there's three APIs you need to install. You do need to sign up for the Financial Prep, Polygon, and your Alpaca. Um, its default is paper because I don't want people trading it live by accident. And you'll have to set up your own MongoDB, but the setup process for that is pretty simple now. It used to be a little bit more complicated, but it's been simplified. So yeah. Um, Thank you. And again, if you have, difficulty with the setup process, feel free to like pull up an issue or, up start a discussion. So yeah, thank you and hope this was pretty helpful.